Again, A.J. Preller lands another huge chip this offseason. Big game James Shields signs a 4-year deal with the Padres. It's time for an Insiders Roundtable. We've got Bill Shakin of the L.A. Times, John Shea, national baseball writer for the San Francisco Chronicles, with us, and MLB.com's Corey Brock is back on the program. Bill, I want to start with you. How does this signing, James Shields to the Padres, impact the NL West immediately for 2015?
It makes the Padres a lot stronger. You know, you look at what Shields did in Kansas City. The Royals were gunning up. It was time to stop rebuilding and get to October. Shields gave them a proven 200-inning guy and a leader for the young pitchers. The Padres are hoping for the exact same thing.
Corey, what do you think on this topic? You agree?
Yeah, and I don't think it was necessarily a case of the Padres getting tired of being the doormat of the National League West. I think it was time for a big change here. And A.J. Preller came in, took a look at the roster, and decided this wasn't good enough. So came in, made some wholesale changes, made some shrewd trades, and lo and behold, in February, saw the biggest cheap chip still out there on the free agent market, swung big, and now they're poised to make a run at the National League West and their first playoff bid since 2006.
You know, A.J. Preller is making the biggest splash in the division, if not the league. And really, it's the rotation in the outfield. Those are huge strengths over the past. And I was looking at the Padres before today as maybe middle of the pack in the division. Now, absolutely, they've got to be ranked up there with the Giants and Dodgers.
Let's move on now that James Shields is off the board. What about this Cuban second baseman, Yoán Moncada? We've heard the Yankees and the Red Sox are going to be interested, Corey. But which NL West team has the best shot at landing this super talent?
You know, I think the Padres and the Dodgers have to be right up there. Greg, you know what's funny? When Preller first came aboard in August, the only thing we had to go by, the only thing we knew about him was his sterling reputation in the Dominican for unearthing these wonderful prospects when he was with the Rangers. Well, his first needs here with the Padres was finding domestic pieces, certainly, to revamp the offense. Now, I think he's going to be able to start digging a little bit deeper internationally. I don't know if Moncada is eventually going to be the guy, but eventually they're going to land some of these players.
Yeah, you know, Preller, his strength is really the international market. And I asked Brian Sabian about him, and he told me it's just a long shot for him to come to San Francisco, given the payroll as it is now, given who they have, the positions he plays. So I look at the Dodgers. If nobody else, you know, they just have an ownership, you know, says it freely. They have money to spend. And really, there's no limit on their spending. And I think the Giants and Dodgers might have more limits. They have dollars in the bank, but in terms of budgetary limits, they have those, I think, more than the Dodgers.
And if you really look at what the Dodgers have done this winter, financially they've been pretty quiet. They've made a lot of moves, but as far as free agent signings, Brandon McCarthy at $48 million was the big signing here, and that's not Kershaw, Greinke, even James Shields level signing. So there's some money. And when you look at Moncada, do you say second base, shortstop, or third base? Well, the Dodgers at those three positions have guys whose contracts are all up at the end of this year. And Kendrick at second, Rollins at short, Uribe at third. He could be definitely a good fit here in Los Angeles.
All right, John, I want to start with you on this next topic. Corey, I want you to go last. So, Bill, you're in the middle. The reason I want Corey to go last is I want to see if he's going to pull for the hometown team here. Who is the best team in the NL West? John, I start with you.
Hey, let's remember the Giants finished behind the Dodgers in second place last year, and they didn't exactly upgrade in the offseason. So we're talking about the West. We're not talking about the postseason. You know, you don't bet against the Giants in the postseason under Bochy. But just getting to the division championship, I still think it's in the Dodgers' court. They made a lot of changes, and interestingly, chemistry is an issue with all those guys, all the new guys coming in. You know, accentuating the numbers, it's still about chemistry. They move some guys away, they move some guys in. I think the Padres are still in the hunt, and I think the Giants are going to have to go a long way just to get to the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if both division winner and at least one wild card comes out of this division.
I like what the Padres have done, but I think it still comes down to the team that starts with Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke and Hyun-Jin Ryu atop the rotation. And you look at San Francisco, and so much really depends on what Matt Cain does coming back from injury, because the rest of the rotation is Madison Bumgarner and guys who are on the downside of their careers. It's going to be up to Cain and an offense that's lost Michael Morse and Pablo Sandoval. A lot of home runs are gone in San Francisco.
Yeah, for my money, it's still the Dodgers. As Bill touched upon, that top three in the rotation, they've been there before. They know what it takes to get there. I think the chemistry will be much better. I think the talent is still there. With the Giants, that's kind of a wild card. I don't know what they'll look like in the second half because they've continued to remake that team, especially in the years when they won the World Series. The Padres certainly will be much, much better. They're going to score some runs. They're going to pitch it. I don't know how good the defense will be, but it'll be an exciting team. And I agree with everyone here. I think that second wild card is coming out of the West.
All of you going with the Dodgers in the West for 2015. Bill, final topic. I'll start with you. Which NL West team won the offseason?
Oh, the Padres in a landslide. I don't think there's any doubt they not only improved the club, but created a buzz. And really, when you're in San Diego and Petco Park's been in existence for a decade and no San Diego fan has ever seen the Padres win a playoff game there, you got to go with the Padres this winter.
Listen, the Giants won it all, but they lost 32 homers between Michael Morris and Pablo Sandoval, and they replaced them with two guys, Aoki and McGee, who totaled 5. So there's going to be a little power drought in San Francisco. Not that that has mattered to them in the past. They won it all in 2012 with, finishing 30th in the majors in home runs, and they were 17th this past year. So it's not about hitting the long ball, but it sure helps. And I think it's still, coming back to the Padres. The Padres have done so much. I don't think the Dodgers really upgraded. They just moved some pieces away, moved some in. I think they're pretty much the same, which is good enough to win that division. I don't know if the Giants are going to be any better in terms of April to September, but again, if they get in the playoffs, you don't bet against them. I think the Padres just won the division in terms of the offseason. I'm not saying the in-season, but in terms of the offseason maneuvering, I think A.J. Preller did it.
Guys, it's one thing to create a hit and to be popular with your local fan base and even regionally, but the Padres have pulled off a stunner this year in the sense that they've become relevant again across the landscape of baseball. Maybe some people woke up back east and realized, hey, the Padres are still in the league. They have uniforms and everything. This is a real coup that A.J. Preller pulled off, and they totally revamped the roster, looked at their deficiencies, addressed them, and then went above and beyond that. Even if they hadn't landed James Shields, they still would have won this division in terms of making an impact this offseason. Where will it lead them? Who knows? They still have 6 weeks of spring training, 6 months of the season, but without playing a single game, they've recaptured and rekindled the hearts of their fan base here, and that's something that's been hard to pull off.
Corey Brock, John Shea, Bill Shaken. Guys, thank you so much. A fun conversation on not just the Padres, but the NL West.